everybody. Greetings, blessings, and good fortune. The Otter's back from the den of the Otter. Excuse me. Today's Thursday. Happy to be with you all. Don't have a lot to bring to you today, but I do want to give you good content. What I have to say, what I've been thinking about throughout the week, and I think it'll be of value to you. Absolutely, we'll talk about Bitcoin. But also, I want to talk about what's going on in the world and how it is that we can really know that there's something wrong, even if we can't really put our finger on it. There's a way to know, and it has to do with the method you use to look at things, the way you approach a certain situation, scenario, or data set. So we'll start out the show as we usually do. I got a few notes here, as I usually do. Bitcoin today, doing the show prep about an hour ago, $19,962 for one Bitcoin. These are prices, remember, and we're not talking about value. I always like to differentiate that. So gold is $1,702 per 1 ounce of gold. Silver is $18.02 for 1 ounce of silver. And if you know anything about these prices, they're very low. Bargain basement would be a really good description of it. So how is it, and back to my earlier comments, how we know things are wrong or upside down or just not right? We see inflation all over the place. Gas, food, eggs, coffee. I think I spent, I bought a Folgers, one of those. I can't remember the exact size of it, but it's about, yay big. And I bought one for home and one for the office. I love the breakfast blend is my favorite. So I bought two. It was over $20. Over $20 for two of those Folgers coffee. And it's not Folgers. It's the US dollar to blame, the Federal Reserve note. So as these prices keep going higher and higher, what are gold and silver doing? They're either staying the same relatively or going lower. So when you look at these hard assets that traditionally have been very solid to have, meaning if you have many different stocks, let's say you're in a mutual fund or you have your IRA in a diversified account in some form of retirement or just an investment fund, some fund out there of diverse options of some form of investment in stocks. That can very well go to zero, because if those companies go bankrupt, where's your stock? What is it worth? Well, nothing, right? Gold and silver will never go to zero, yet we see the price staying far below the elevated prices of other assets. So this is another way to say we're living in a clown world, man. We're living in a clown world. This is just not right. There's nothing right about what we're living in. Even before COVID, but especially COVID. What a crazy transitional shift we made there, the pivot, right? Into clown world, and that's where we're living now. I got a couple examples in the news that I want to point out that pretty much illustrates this, and then I've got a few resources for you that you can check out. As you know, if you know me, and many of the viewers that watch the show do know me. So if you know me, I'm really not anyone who's unafraid to share resources that I tap into to find information, to try to sort out narratives, alternative narratives. I don't always believe them, and again, I'm going to reiterate: don't expect that I expect you to believe me even. What I would like is for you just to check these things out, and then we can bounce them around. I've got the comment section open. I know normally when I'm in the station, I only have my phone, and the comments don't always pop up. But I have it on right now. So if you want to talk about a certain subject, would you like, maybe, hey, what's your take on this, that, or the other thing? Throw it in there, and I'll bring it to whatever I can bring light to. I'll do my best. But when I see these prices, I say to myself, let's get us some, okay? there's two other assets that I'm always preaching about, so to speak. It's land and Bitcoin. So right now, land is outside of the other three, the main assets I really like to recommend to people: land, gold, silver, Bitcoin, right? So these three are being manipulated. And I've gone into that before, and I won't touch on it unless somebody really wants to hear about that and send me a comment. But land is unlike the other three in that, at least currently, it's not being manipulated. It's still rising. Land is rising, though it's cooling off. Why? The interest rates. So if you want to buy land, if you want to buy a home, the people like I've mentioned his name before, the Economic Ninja. You can find him on Rumble. Download that app, and you can find all kinds of people that have been kicked off Facebook, kicked off YouTube, kicked off Twitter, and they're there. They thrive on Rumble, because Rumble doesn't censor them. They can say what they want. So basically, this guy, the Economic Ninja, he works in banking and real estate and so forth. So he gives strategies that you can either believe or not, or follow or not. But he seems very knowledgeable, and you can check him out at your leisure. He only does like 7-minute videos, which is cool if you're just taking a brief ride somewhere and you want to listen to something that'll edify you or give you a little bit of knowledge that you didn't have 8 minutes before. Then you can listen to one of his shows, or watch it if you want. So the thing that makes real estate in those four main asset classes that I'm talking about, that I usually talk about and promote, land, gold, silver, and Bitcoin. Of those four, land not yet is being manipulated, unless you want to consider rising interest rates manipulation. So I would imagine that if they're using those tactics to manipulate land, you've got somebody like BlackRock out there, that huge investment firm, just ready to gobble it up, right? Unfortunately, that's just the world we live in right now. But we'll see if that occurs. I know they're buying up a bunch of land now, but we'll see how they act when the time comes, because they're not gonna move before they know the bottom, and they're the kind of people that know when the bottom is. So let me throw this out there for you also. There's a really good, and most of the viewers who check this show out, not all, there's some friends and family in other places, but I use Texas Precious Metals if I make a purchase of silver or something like that, let's say. So I don't have a lot, but a couple coins here and there, who knows, right? So if you go up to their website, I think it's texmetals.com or something like that, but Texas Precious Metals, you could buy what they call a Texas Silver Round, and they have different series of them, and they're really cool. They, the current one is battles of Texas. So they got the various different battles in the Texas Revolution and so forth. So you could get one of those silver rounds, which is 99.99% pure silver, for $24.40 right now. So under $25, you could have yourself some silver. You could get 4 of them, 4 ounces of silver, for under $100, and just about at $100. So think about that. Think about where you're going to be if and when the bank shuts down, or there's not a chance to off ramp from the system that's crashing. Okay, I don't know what's going to happen, but be prepared and not scared, as the Economic Ninja says, right? Be prepared and not scared. So here's some news. We got all kinds of stuff going on, right? But this one is bizarre. I'm going to click on. I have the option to click on things here. The Washington Examiner, okay, has this story that's very interesting out of California. California won't. These are the headlines. California won't let you charge the electric car it wants to force you to buy. So, as usual, California is dictating to you what you can and cannot have. And in this case, what they're telling you cannot have after 2035, the year 2035, is a gas-powered car. However, the climate nuts are now telling you not to charge your electric car. Why? Because too much electricity is being used due to a heat wave. Yeah. So you must buy an electric car and then you must not charge it. That's California for you, ladies and gentlemen. What a great state. Wow. So that's craziness. We all know it is. Here's something that I fell on that is more craziness, but these people are serious. And this is happening in the Netherlands. So from what I understand, the Netherlands is number 2 in the world food exporter. Don't know which food, or maybe it's just a totality of food exportation. So apparently their prime minister, and this is the term that is being used, bantied about, if you will, is targeting farmers. He's all pissed off because they're protesting. And why are they protesting? Well, because the Netherlands, like Canada, is withholding 30% of the nitrogen that the farmers use for fertilizer so that they can have a large harvest. And then they export it, and then people like you and I get to eat. Well, the prime minister, who I'm more than positive is securely backed by the World Economic Forum, is telling them that they're going to have their land confiscated if they keep protesting. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? They're going to have their land protested. They're going to have their land confiscated because they're protesting the tyrannical government. I mean, let's put it this way. Farmers tend to beget farmers. So it's a generational thing. So imagine what they're looking at, these farmers. What are they looking? They're looking at losing something that has been in the family for generations. Why? Because someone wants to take it. That's the World Economic Forum for you. And they mean it when they say, you will own nothing. Now they're lying when they say, and you will be happy. But remember, that's their tagline. You will own nothing and be happy. No thanks. So, where does this boil down to? How is it that this is so unique or special, let's say? I wouldn't say it's unique or special outside of our lifetimes, because it happens in history. Throughout history, you'll look at how nations are taken over either by other nations or from within, a coup from within, like happened to us in 2020. So the thing about this goes along with a lot of other things, and it has to do with scarcity. See, the people that really want to control your life have to create certain conditions prior to them having the control they want to have. Let me give you an example. If they control energy, right? Let's just say somebody would be malevolent enough to cut off oil pipelines. Let's say they were sufficiently evilly intentful that they would not continue oil drilling leases in a country, and we'll just say the United States. Yes, I'm actually talking about the resident. Yeah, I am. You got it. I know you did. You guys don't watch this and have absolutely no sense. You know what I'm talking about. So when you have somebody that is intentionally cutting off energy supply, they're making energy scarce. What does that mean? It's easier for them to control. What if they control energy? Well, they control a heck of a lot, don't they? We need energy. We rely on energy. Our society relies on energy. Okay, our livelihoods rely on energy. So if they make energy scarce and then they control that energy in its scarcity, they control the world, right? Maybe, maybe not, depending on where you're at. Now, they're not limited, because their evil is not limited. They're not limited just to energy, as if that wasn't enough already, right? They're now attacking food. So I think it was Dan Bongino had a show recently on all of the, and we've covered this before because we're almost always a step ahead, right? So we've covered this food shortage thing, and basically these food processing plants are burning down all over the place. We got some numbers. I didn't check it out prior, so I'm not going to give you any numbers, but we know this is on our radar. Burning food processing plants in many parts worldwide, not just the United States. So what we have on our hands here is a plan by which they will make energy scarce, food scarce, everything they can to control us. And when, just think about it this way, if they control energy and food, what more do they need to control? Not much. They control pretty much everything if they can control that. Again, everyone, if you've seen this show before, you know I'm an optimist. Not only am I an optimist, but I try to look at alternative viewpoints, and I try to see what might be in play. So you have the bad guys here, the good guys are working here. I think the good guys have well anticipated this, and they know the whole playbook of these evil people, for lack of a better word. Kids might be watching. And I don't like to swear anyway. But anyway, the thing that I'm talking about is this. They will control the amount of and the allocation of very precious resources. And in this case, it's energy and food. And there's other things too, but I'm just touching on these two. So, what else do we have here? Breitbart has Bill Barr says Hunter laptop deserves special counsel. Wow. Hunter laptop. Who's Hunter? Oh, Hunter Biden. He had a laptop, remember? If you watch news, you probably don't because it wasn't on the news. So Hunter Biden had a laptop that he left at, a repair shop. The guy saw the contents of it because he was repairing it, called the FBI, and the FBI got it. And as you probably know, the FBI did nothing. And, well, you know what? They did do something. The FBI did do something. How proactive they were. They basically said that for the 2020 election, they told Twitter and they told Facebook that it would behoove them not to publicize. Yeah. That whole Russian misinformation thing. When they knew all along that the Russians had nothing to do with it. Just like the Russia hoax, just like all the other things that they're telling us. They're lying. Plain and simple. You disagree? Throw me a comment. We'll talk about it. Yes, and by the way, you may or may not have seen images from that laptop. You may not want to see them. It does involve children. So, I'm probably not going to go on too long today. I don't know, hopefully you can't hear, but there are other people at the house. We have guests and stuff, but I want to talk about something that I experienced yesterday. And this is not uncommon by any stretch for me. I was talking to a room of people, and it was a work training environment. And these are pretty sharp people, and they're also people that like to serve the community, serve the people around them, be a net contributor as opposed to a net demander. So these are good people. And when I started talking, we had like a round table kind of thing, and I wanted to let them know that at some point we're going to need to help out more people in a hurry. Because what's coming our way, we're not going to be able to pick the date. Not that the date isn't picked by the people that are manipulating these things, but things are going to happen with a quickness. And there are going to be so many people that are going to need so much assistance that it's going to overwhelm any system that exists right now. So it will default to, as what naturally always occurs, to the person who is best able to explain it. And though I'm never the smartest guy in the room, I can very much explain why these events are transpiring. You might not like my explanation. You may very much disagree with it, and I invite that. But by the same token, there are going to be so many people that are going to be utterly unable to make head or tails of the situation. And as I was talking, I was basically telling them these things. I saw, the common glassy-eyed look, the checking of a phone, and for the most part, everybody was pretty silent. I think we had 15 or 20 people there. They listened, but I could tell, just looking at faces, glancing, reading the room type of thing, that it was registering with only a few of them. And out of the 20, and I offered to tell them exactly what I was talking about, out of the 20, one person did come to me afterwards and said, hey, where do you recommend that I get some resources? And I told him about this, and hey, come on as a Facebook friend, and I do a show every Thursday at 5. So hopefully he's watching. But if not, I gave him a bunch of sources, people many times smarter than I am, that have the ability to articulate in such a way that you can get your mind around what it is that's going on. And while we still live in a clown world and it won't change that, you'll be able to better understand events and look through them, past them to the source or a possible, a group of potential sources. So what I want to do with you right now is I want to share some of that. And another observation I made of that day was this. Yesterday was this. There were some very successful people in that room. If not in the eyes of everyone, then at least, their self-respect was intact and they earn well for their family and they're moving up in their career field. So I have a feeling that much like Bitcoin adoption, or at least crypto adoption, the conceptualizing or the understanding of how a criminal syndicate worldwide in scope has control over most of us. They really can't wrap their mind around that because they're highly leveraged in this world. They're invested in this paradigm, this perspective, the way things work in the world. So what's going on is we are unable to understand things if things are going well for us because there's no real incentive to change, right? I'm getting a message here. It says my keyframe rate is too low. So I'm really hoping that you guys can see me. And if not, hopefully it'll record. And then, we can get on to get it on. So one last thing here. When I told you that I shared some resources with the guy who came to me after the training, I want to share some resources with you. And there's a few different places you can go that will host very intelligent and articulate people that are making sense of this stuff. So one of them is called Substack. It's for writers that are sidelined and marginalized in other places. So in Substack, I would recommend, and you can find their stuff other places, and you can get you give them your email and they'll send you like a weekly, bi-weekly newsletter, right? So here are 3 that I know you'll really enjoy. Martin Geddes, Geddes, Martin Geddes. He's a British guy. He does photography and he does amazing articulation of what it is we're going through, the Great Awakening and all that stuff that's coming around. But he's really, really able to go deep and articulate well what it is we see around us in ways that we really haven't considered. Well, at least I haven't considered before. Another one is called Burning Bright. Okay, his tenet, his theme is the information and mind wars. So he sees our clown world right now as a war of both information and power over minds. Then there is C.J. Hopkins, okay, and his term that he has coined, the phrase that he's coined is global cap. So he calls the globalist cabal global cap, and he writes, as if it's personified, right? So these are the things, these are the sources that you can use also that'll show you exactly what alternative viewpoints mean, because it's going to be, I won't say completely juxtaposed, but very much different than the mainstream. Don't believe them, believe them, do what you want, check it out. But the fact remains that these outlets are giving information. Check it out. Check it out. Well, I thank you for tuning in. I don't know if it's getting out. I don't know if it's exactly going right the way it should go. But I'll tell you what. I appreciate you all watching. if you're watching or if this is even working. I appreciate your attention. I ask that God bless you, keep you in these turbulent times, and I plan on being here as long as I possibly can to help you out. Send me emails at bitcoinotter.media.com, or, well, at gmail.com, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. Visit my website, Bitcoin Otter. Check it out. Send me a message. I'm here. Let me help you figure things out. God bless you, and goodbye.